Welcome to the Kawartha Small Business Podcast, where we believe the Kawarthas can be the most thriving region in Canada for small business. I'm Brian Rump from Profit Coach.
And I'm Matt Garrity of Matty G Digital.
All right, Matt, we are getting into it today. We are going to talk about one of our favorite subjects, and that is eggnog. Alternative title to this episode is Snoop Noggy Nog. So yeah, this is Christmas time, and thought we would have a slightly laid back episode and talk about everyone's favorite festive treat.
I thought we scrapped this episode, so
No, it's on
exciting.
the
Let's get into it.
list.
What are we talking about today, though? Like the
We're
business
talking
of
about
eggnog?
eggnog.
I
Yeah,
feel like you know a lot more about eggnog than the average person. So, get into it. Tell me about eggnog, Brian.
I am so prepared for this episode. In the summertime, we had some fun titles related to summertime type of things. I think French fries and burgers, and I kind of forget, but I was thinking about eggnog, and it's great. What when you think of eggnog, what's the first thing you think about?
Um, I think about cold egg juice.
Cold egg juice, nice.
That's like
That's
I don't
interesting.
I don't mind eggnog. I don't think I tried it until probably the last 5 years, maybe generously the last 10 years. Um, I like it. I find sometimes I will hit a wall with it where my mind takes over and I'm actually like, what are you drinking? Why are you drinking this? This is cold or sometimes hot egg juice. What and honestly my tastes in my stomach will shift. It's like a mental game I've played with myself where I'm like, oh, this is good. And then sometimes just like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it totally changes and I cannot physically drink it anymore.
That's awesome. So why do you think you drink it in the first place?
It is something that I am told I am supposed to drink, I am supposed to like. It is a holiday tradition. I feel like every year when I watch Christmas Vacation and he's drinking the eggnog, I assume it's eggnog, out of that moose glass, which I did own up until last year, and I think a kid of mine, a child of mine broke it. Or I don't know, anyways. I think every year I'm like, oh yeah, like that looks kind of fun. Chevy Chase is having a great time in that movie. I want to be more like Chevy Chase. And then I'm like, I'm going to try this. I think the first time I like really loved it was intentional or unintentionally here was the Kawartha Dairy eggnog that I had, where it basically tasted like melted ice cream. It was really good, very good.
Awesome. If you could sum up in one word why you drink eggnog, could you do that?
You're gonna make me say it.
Yeah,
It's marketing.
it's marketing. Yes, this is a marketing episode like everything else. And it's so true. I think it started as like, let's just talk about eggnog. It's like a festive favorite, kind of goofy. But the only reason you drink cold egg juice is marketing. And it's like an example that punches us in the face every fall when it's eggnog season, and pop culture uh, contributes. So, that Christmas Vacation scene is great. I also, for years, wanted those moose glasses. And finally, I think my sister found them when they produced them. It's not really that long ago, but like it was awesome to get those, right? And like I lots of times like tried to choke down eggnog because it's in Christmas movies you like, and there's just so much like feeling around Christmas, so much
Yeah.
marketing, so many ways for companies to invite you into that story where you're like the hero. You're standing around with that moose glass in a nice warm living room with your family around having a funny time, sipping on eggnog. And that's like so many drinks that are kind of disgusting are all based on marketing and tradition, right? Like most alcoholic drinks are terrible, but people learn to like them because they want to be fancy, right? Like, who sits around and drinks scotch? Like, that's totally like you've been hoodwinked by marketing that makes you fancy, right? Or like my favorite comedian stuff talks about, fancy vodka. Like, vodka is not a fancy drink, but some people have convinced you that some are fancier and classier than others, and you pay for them. And I think eggnog falls right into that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I actually don't think I've ever thought about this. I'm trying to rack my brain to think about other foods. When you said scotch, that's a good point. It's like you want to drink a mossy ashtray. Like
Yeah, like delicious. And eggnog's one. I think there's so many things in the holiday season. Um, I love it. Like I love walking around stores this time of year and like all the sort of nostalgic snacks that come up or things that taste like Christmas. Like feels like when I was a kid, we only got certain treats like at Christmas time. So like whenever I eat it, that's where it transports me back to that sort of magical time as a kid. And eggnog is right up there. I know there's a pretty good like Simpsons episode where Homer just fills the fridge with eggnog and like is eating it on his cereal. And it's like, well, we only get it once a year. So like people are drinking it as much as they can.
that's true. It's like I wonder where mini eggs go when it's not Easter, or like where does eggnog go? Why do we only drink eggnog around Christmas? It would make some sense that it would be in the fall. Speaking of
I,
fall, now I'm all over the place. That's something that's been marketed to us that the fall is awesome. Fall sucks. It's terrible. We're going from the summer, which is awesome, universally loved, into a season that people generally don't like, the winter. I like the winter. I think it can be beautiful. I like the snow, all that kind of stuff. I don't do anything with the snow, but I think fall sucks. It's cold. It's damp. It's usually wet. It's dark all the time. Fall sucks, and we've been tricked by marketers to think that it's great.
I know. I think that's our pull quote for the episode, or one of many. But it's true, and I think it gives like someone an excuse to like hustle something, right? Or like let's make fashion out of these winter boots that you now require, right? Or let's market these hot drinks. I think eggnog, the reason it's not available year round is because it sucks and people don't want to drink it all the time, but they will drink it. There are people who like it, but if it's seasonal and you miss it and then you have it, you don't get sick of it. It's not a drink all the time
True.
type of drink. So their sales would probably be terrible if it was something that was always available. But if you put a campaign around it, it becomes that seasonal thing that's limited edition. Then there's like a marketing campaign to have, and you do a run and you do your seasonal eggnog campaign, and it's a great little sort of seasonal product line for you.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I always think about that with pumpkin pie specifically because I think that pumpkin pie is my favorite type of pie. But then I often will bring up in conversation, is it good because we just can't get it all the time? Like cherry pie, apple pie, blueberry, you can get that all year round. But pumpkin pie is only available for basically a couple months a year. So you're flocking to it. Same with like candy cane ice cream. Like that's only once a year. If we could get candy cane ice cream this summer, do you think it would be good? I don't think so.
And we get mint chip, which is like
It's the
almost
exact
the
same thing.
same.
Yeah.
It's a bit different, but it is fascinating, and it'd be food marketers really know this stuff, and I could sort of pull from a few conversations I've had, and some of it's like flavor profiles, how it's on people's palates. I know one of the reasons that Coke dominates Pepsi in sales is, but Pepsi usually wins like the blind taste test challenge. Is a lot of people, if they're just picking one to drink, they'll always pick Pepsi over Coke as which one tastes better. But as someone said, if you take a case home for the weekend, you get sick of Pepsi fast because it has to do with like the level of like sweetness and vanilla or something on your palate.
Interesting.
So I try to apply that with other things. So like pumpkin pie, which is probably my favorite as well. But do I want a slice every week? We don't always want that sort of richness or like burst of flavor all the time. We want it like occasionally and really good. It's like, McDonald's hamburgers are like a everyday once a week burger, but sometimes you feel like an amazing craft burger that's full of flavor, but you don't want to have that every single day. So, your human tastes are different. You don't um, always want that richness.
And people are going to lose their marbles when I say this, but the chains and the fast food restaurants do an incredible job with marketing those limited time only offerings where McDonald's will come in, Wendy's will come in, whatever, and have a new burger or a new type of nugget for a month. And you're like, wow, I got to try this. You try it, like, this is really good. I'm going to come back. You might have it one more time. You want to go back again, and it's gone for probably the year, right? And then they'll put it back.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons does this all the time, like constantly new stuff. They do a fantastic job of marketing, which is creating awareness for a product and getting you to show up to their place. That's it.
Yeah, and that's the try it, but you don't want it all the time.
Yeah.
Like used to love the bacon mushroom melt from Wendy's, and like when it was around and when I was a teenager and people first got their cars, we would like be like, yeah, let's go for like the bacon mushroom melt. But do I want to eat that every time I go to Wendy's? No, because it was messy and rich and delicious, but don't want it every time. And that's like, Tim Hortons, McDonald's, they'll have, ads around, hey, try something new this time. And then you go back to your old favorite and you come back. So you're still going, but those new things might get people to come sort of once more in a month or once more in a week. And that extra little marginal sale makes a big difference in your profitability, which is like the eggnog, right? Like if it's always on the shelf, you're probably not buying it. But if you can only buy it in like Christmas time, you're probably buying it. And then you're probably like, oh, Christmas treat eggnog. I need this with candy cane ice cream. So like you're going to go buy that ice cream too.
Candy cane eggnog sounds good.
Maybe. I don't know.
I was just about to ask you to wrap it up. Like, do you feel as if you are more convinced now to try to drink eggnog again?
I think I get looped into wishing I liked eggnog. And about every 5 years or so, I'm like, oh, eggnog. So I buy some, I have like a shot of it, and then I dump the rest out. And I enjoy a small amount of eggnog. And you're right, it's so sweet. It's like melted ice cream. You and I tried eggnog cheesecake from Cake by the Lake, which was an amazing cheesecake. And
wildly good. That was like I think I've had 4 from there this year. That was my favorite one.
It was so good. And I was telling my wife, or brought it, and she's like, she doesn't really like eggnog. And then tried it. And I was like, well, if you look at the ingredients in eggnog and any other cheesecake,
yeah,
they're probably the same. Like it's almost like a light cheesecake with like the, cinnamon nutmeg, a little bit of egg for a bit of like volume and sort of the texture in it, but it's not like a wacky flavor for a cheesecake. Like the base ingredients are probably the same in everyone. But I was like, all right, eggnog, like we're gonna try this and buy it. And the marketing gets me just as much as anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, it tastes like graham crackers. It tastes like vanilla. Tasted like, what was the other thing I'm missing there? Nutmeg. It was all really good. Very quickly, behind the scenes note of this podcast, we had originally discussed doing this podcast in person and drinking eggnog together. And Brian was the one that was like, no, we're not doing that. I don't want to drink eggnog. And this was planned for weeks. And that's why I thought that this whole podcast was
It wasn't scrapped. I just didn't want to haul my stuff to record it in person.
you didn't want to
And
drink
then
eggnog. Just say it.
I might have drank a little bit. I would have reminded myself that that it's a very limited thing for me. So anyway, I think that's sort of we've exhausted this topic. It's really again all about marketing. It's about making people feel like they're the hero, drinking some seasonal eggnog, enjoying the delights of the season. And, from a business standpoint, it's profitable to have those limited time campaign focus items. Any other thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, I will challenge anyone because we are going to get at least one person say that they like eggnog. I will challenge them to say they like eggnog, but not with alcohol. So most people are probably like, I love eggnog. I get together with my family, my friends. We drink eggnog. There's rum in it and all this stuff. I'm like, bro, you're drunk. That's why you think you like eggnog. Try non-alcoholic eggnog and tell me if you really love it that much.
That's funny. I thought you were going to challenge someone to an eggnog chugging contest. And I'll just end on saying that of all the eggnog I've ever drank, I probably once had it with alcohol. So maybe I would like that. Anyway, if you want to fight us about this episode or you want us to help you figure out what the eggnog is in your business that you could do an awesome seasonal campaign around, we'd love to help you. Check us out at kawarthasmallbusinesspodcast.ca or send us an email to setitup@kawarthasmallbusinesspodcast.ca.